Hello and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to take command line output and feed it into a GUI. So you can create a GUI wrapper on top of a command line program. It can be used with any language. So if you have a Python script, C++ script that outputs text to the console, then you can create a GUI wrapper on top of that. And a lot of programs use this. They just have a wrapper on top of a command line program. It's easier to do this in Linux, and it's more code in Windows, but I'll show you how to do it in both. So I put together a small demo to show how this works. I've created a word called Go, which will launch my program. And if you're new, I'm using SwiftForth on Windows, so it'll be in the Forth programming language. And if that's something you're interested in, subscribe and you'll be notified of the latest video. But getting back to this, if I click on pipe, it's going to output today's date, which is the 17th of January. If I click on ffmpeg, it's going to actually run an ffmpeg command, which will just output a bunch of help or directions on how to use the command line utility. If I click on AVRDude, which is another Flash utility for AVR devices, you can see that it outputs some help text, and you can easily program this to flash or do any of the type of commands that you often do all the time. I've got another button called pinout, so it'll just bring a pop-up of the controller that I'm working with. And these types of programs are really useful because you can build on top of the millions of command line utilities that are out there, and it can be in any language. For this next part, I'm going to show you how this works in Linux. So I'm running Linux Mint, and I've got SwiftForth installed on this. So if you're curious on how to do that, I'll leave a link below, and I also did a video, so you can watch that and know how to install SwiftForth on Linux. So basically what I'm going to do is we're going to run the ls command, and we're going to have a GUI that just outputs, these files into the GUI. So I've created a small demo. I'm just going to type in SF to enter this. Type in include. And this example is one that I created, so I'm just going to run it. It'll bring up a window. And if I click OK, it's going to run the ls command. And you can see it just outputs the files that are in our current working directory. So you can see that you can, do this in Linux and also in Windows. And if you're curious about how this works, it says in documents SwiftForth/lib GTK4 that this is a work in progress, so more to come as of 2026 January 17th. It's not quite finished, but you can get kind of basic stuff up and running. And they also give you 3 examples, which is just a simple window, hello world, and a grid containing 3 buttons. I'll provide the source code for my stuff and leave a link to that below, so you'll have another example. So to visualize this, you can just think of a pipe in between the command prompt and your GUI. And whenever you run some command program, such as AVRDude, you'll get some output, and that output needs to go to a write-only pipe. So if you mix these up, it won't work. And on the right side, you have your GUI. It also has a pipe, and it can only read from one end of the pipe. So you have to configure that. Once you have that configured, you can just get outputs from a command prompt and get it into a GUI. I'm just going to open SwiftForth in the Linux version. So all you need is 3 functions on the Linux version. So I'm going to type in popen. This only requires 2 arguments, which is the open. We have to specify whether it's write only or read only. We've got to be able to get something out of the pipe. And lastly, we need to close the pipe. So this requires just 1, which is just the handle. So what I'll do next is just clear some memory. So I'll erase 100 bytes. So we've cleared out some memory and we're going to run a command. So what I can do is this takes 0 terminated strings. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to run the ls command, which just outputs a list of your folders. Because we're using SwiftForth, this is a read-only pipe. So we just type in R because we're just going to read from this pipe. So what we're going to do is just open it. If I type in .s, you see we've got a handle right here. So I'm actually just going to save this. I'm just going to copy it. And we need to get something out of this pipe. So I'm just going to type in the memory location, or we can just type in pad 100. And I'm just going to paste in, just hard code this for now. Type in fgets pad 100 dump. You see we've got our first folder. So what you would do is you want to loop through this, but I'm just going to do it manually. So to do it manually, all you do is rerun the command fgets, just dump, and you're just going to get the next folder. You would just put this in a loop, and you can see you can just get all the folders that's in your current working directory. The Linux version is way easier. The Windows version, there's way more stuff to set up, but this is kind of the basic idea. You always want to close your pipe if you open it. So I'll just copy the handle back in, type in pclose. It should be good. So if you want to learn more, then you can just type in Linux popen. You should get a page like this. It will describe how this function works. So you can see it takes a command, which we specified as a 0 terminated string. And then we, just specify in the type, read or write. So you can read all about it here. It's pretty much the Linux version. I'll try to give a high-level overview of the Windows version. We have our main function, which is CreatePipe. So you're going to specify the read pipe, write pipe, and the attributes and size. We got the set handle information, which is we're telling the pipe, do we want this to inherit reading abilities, or do we want it to just be able to write? So we're doing that with this right here. Peak name pipe is just asking how many bytes are in the pipe. Read file is just our fgets. So we got to get our information out and do something with it. And in Windows, you have to set up these data structures. So we're setting up some data structures. And right here is where we're actually making the pipe. Here's our main function, CreatePipe. Here's some debug stuff, just, for my own purpose to see if it actually ran. Right here is our set handle information. So we're basically saying that the child process inherits the write end, the parent process inherits the read end. So our SwiftForth application has the ability to read the pipe. The command prompt only has the ability to write. So that's kind of how that works. You have to set that up just right. Right here, we're setting up our actual command prompt. The command prompt has actually 2 outputs. So we merge that into one pipe. We have an output and an error output. So we just merge that into one pipe. And we have some more data structures right here. Right here, we are doing something important that you have to do. because when you run avrdude or ffmpeg, these processes take some time. So you might see a progress bar, and that takes some time. So you have to use this word right here, or this function right here called wait for single object. Basically what we're saying is wait for the ffmpeg command to complete and then move on to the next thing. So that's important that you add that to any of these programs. And down here we are actually looking at the pipe. We're seeing, how many bytes are in the pipe. If nothing is in the pipe, then just write a 0 to our scratch pad of memory. And right here is where we're actually reading the pipe and getting the information out. So right here is the GUI stuff, the buttons that we set up, OK, cancel, things like ffmpeg, avrdude, etc. Well, the important thing to look at is the ID over here. So what we've been doing is writing to the edit box, which has an ID of 100. So this is the GUI stuff right here. And this is our switch statement, which is where you put all your programming inside of here. So all these IDs correspond to things that you run inside your switch statement. So ID 101 was the pipe button, and all we did was just output our command prompt, which was running echo and just echoing out the date. We're waiting for that command to complete. We're writing to the edit box, which you see over here is the ID of 100. We're basically getting that information out of the pipe, and we're setting our dialog item text, which is we're just writing to the edit box, which is what you saw whenever I pressed one of those buttons. So same thing right here, we got 102 corresponds to our button over here. 103 corresponds to our button over here. And we're just running these simple commands, waiting for them to complete. And we are writing to the edit box, which has an ID of 100. So that's pretty much all we're doing. Right here, we're just opening a image. This stuff down here is auto-generated, so you don't have to worry too much about this stuff. If you want to mess around with the SwiftForth version or the Windows version of this, you're going to go to Optional Packages, Win32 Options, select Boxed, and click OK. And all you do to open this GUI creator is type in 0 boxed, and you'll create something like this. It just kind of opens this up. And I've already done a tutorial on this, so if you want to check it out, I'll leave a link to that below. But it's real simple. You just right click, you can go to edit box, and this is actually a single line edit box. So what we want is a multi-line edit box. That's pretty much the setup part for that. So right here, you can actually set your ID, and to delete a control, all you do is select it. So you see a red box, you right click and click on delete selected control. Once you've resized this to however you want, you've got your layout set out, all you do is click on the X. It says, do you want to copy this to the clipboard? Click on yes. We'll copy the code to the clipboard. You Control V, just type in go. I've just created the basic skeleton of your GUI. As you can see, it created our dialog with, 2 buttons and an edit box. Our switch statement is right here, so that's where you do all your programming. And I'll just open Notepad so you can see this. So here's our switch statement. So all we would do is just, type in 101 run, and then type in, whatever your command is for the edit box. And that's pretty much how you would go about creating your GUI wrapper. So I kind of speed ran through this last part, but I'll leave the source code to the Linux version and the Windows version. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, and let me know what you think.